Hello, everyone. Welcome to this month's Coffee Chat, the month of November 2018. I have my coffee here. We have several other people here, many of which continued on from the previous Monero talk. So if you're joining us live and saw that, thank you for coming over and watching us here. I know that I appreciate their ability to come and speak for another hour on other various Monero-related topics. So thank you to those that are coming over from the previous chat. But if you've never been to a coffee chat before, we are just some of the Monero contributors in the space working on any number of Monero-related projects. And we have this scheduled casual time to simply talk about Monero, what's going on, without getting technical or anything. So I have on one of my screens the chat from YouTube recorded. So if you have questions, make sure to ask them so we can go through them in chat. We have a large number of people here. We can go through introductions in a second. But again, thank you for everyone who is coming to speak with us in the coffee chat. And thank you everyone for watching the coffee chat today. So introduction time. My name is Justin. I am the organizer of the Monero community work group. And I'm also otherwise involved in the Monero ecosystem. The past few days, I've given a few talks on how you can evaluate privacy technology and implementations. I've done that with my local Minneapolis meetups that we have. I have a student group here on campus that we have our events with. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Diego to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Diego. Most people know me as Rarar. I am a guy that does stuff in Monero. What do? I do some website work. I do some design work. I try to stay interconnected with all of the little groups that are there so I can make sure that everybody knows what's going on with everybody else as much as they want to reveal. I guess that's it, right? Yeah, I don't do anything else. I run Cypher Market. You can go buy shirts at Cypher Market. We're going to have tote bags here pretty soon because people say proof of work is bad for the environment, and people who use Bitcoin, they don't care about the environment. But if we get tote bags and we take them shopping, then we can not have to take their little plastic bags and contribute to that stuff. So we can prove them wrong. Just the tote bag soon.
I like the idea. Just a disclaimer that Diego and I both have some connection to Cypher Market. So obviously we think it's a good idea, but your mileage may vary. Next, we have Vic. Vic, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, Vic Sharma. I'm the creator, the founder of Cake Wallet. Actually, it seems like all my Monero gurus are on this chat. Of course, Diego was the first one who reached out to me when we launched Cake Wallet, and you got Doug on the line. Doug also reached out to me. He was the first person I met in real life in the Monero community. And then Justin, when I started doing a lot of research on Monero, trying to learn everything, I would keep seeing Justin's name, his articles, his presentations, his comments pop up. So I reached out to him. So I'm glad all my three gurus are online at the same time. So it's good. So we're having a lot of fun with Cake Wallet. It's been a great experience. Great community's been supportive, and we keep growing.
Excellent, Vic. Thanks. This is your first coffee chat you're on, correct?
It is.
Awesome. We're very happy to have you on.
Yeah. So if I violate any protocols, let me know.
I don't anticipate so. This is again pretty formal. We've had some really lively conversations in the past.
Yeah.
All right, Andres, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Andres. I am part of the Monerujo team. I do UX suggestions. I'm not the main designer. The main designer is Balsar 777. And I also do the articles that try to explain how some features work and why they work the way they do. and what's the idea behind them as well. And I also work as an illustrator on the upcoming Mastering Monero book that is authored by Serhak. So that's coming pretty soon, as far as I know. So that's what I do mostly in the Monero community.
Excellent, Andres. It's likely that many people who have been in at least some involvement or have at least searched for something Monero related in the past have run into something that you've created in some way, whether it's your articles about explaining crazy paths in Monerujo, or hopefully in the future too, if they're reading the Monero, the Mastering Monero book that should be published hopefully in time for the Christmas purchasing season. That's what I'm pushing for. Let's see if that happens.
I think it's possible, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's possible, so I hope it actually occurs. That way we can get paperback books in everyone's stockings or whatever other holidays tradition you have this year. All right, Doug. So you have interviewed maybe all of us on your Monero Talk initiative that you've worked on. So can you introduce us? So can you introduce yourself here that is involved in the coffee chats? But I think this is the first coffee chat you're on, so we're happy to have you on. Again, sorry, please introduce yourself.
Yeah. So I've actually been watching Coffee Chat from the first time you guys went on. You're definitely my inspiration. But yeah, no, I just came on the scene. I wanted to just, I kind of saw there was, I know you guys do the coffee chat, but it was only a monthly thing. And I just wanted to try to do a show where we have more of a weekly show on what's going on in Monero. And it ended up turning into more of an interview-based show, as I find there's just a continuous stream of people to talk to. There's always new developments. But yeah, I'm Doug. I'm at Shabungaman on Reddit and on Twitter, running the Monero Talk show. Really enjoying it. And thanks for having me on here. Sorry I never came on sooner. I guess I just thought I was never ready. But yeah, thanks for having me on. And I didn't realize you were working on the Monero book as well, Andre. We didn't talk about that. I didn't realize that was one of your other pursuits. That's really cool.
No, absolutely. We're happy to have you on. I'm glad that this is an inspiration for something. So see, we're getting somewhere.
It's a great show. I wish you guys did it more often, but I know it's hard to get everybody on, I'm sure.
No, I think your contributions in the interview, I'm sure that any sort of direction you want to take this would be productive and beneficial, but I love watching the Monero Talk show generally. So
awesome.
I get a notification every time that a new video is posted, and I look forward when you eventually get it into podcast format too, which I know you're working on.
Yeah, we should have that any day now. We just uploaded videos. Thanks for kind of walking us through the process, by the way.
Yeah,
we'll have that up soon.
Excellent. So we had before we move on to the last introduction. So we had a quick question that came in chat asking if there will be a hard copy of Mastering Monero. The answer is yes. So we have different mediums that Mastering Monero will be published. So you can get a PDF on masteringmonero.com for free. It will not cost you anything. You can get the entire book for free. If you prefer to get a Kindle edition or another digital edition, you can get that on the Google Play Store or Amazon, and potentially other stores too. And if you want an actual physical paperback mailed to you, you should be able to purchase that on Amazon also. So it should be available in all of these distribution mediums. Perfect. So last but not least, we have M2049er. Let's see if their connection works out for them to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is M2049er, aka Jimmy. I'm the developer of Monerujo, the Android wallet, together with Andres, who's here today as well, and Gustav. And yeah.
All right, welcome everyone. So we really have a great panel of people here that are wallet developers and wallet UI UX designers. So absolutely, any wallet questions, this is the chance you have to ask questions for us. This is again supposed to be pretty informal. It's not supposed to be just asking you all questions. So if you have questions for each other, by all means, that's a great place I think we can take this to. We have.
I think the best thing that we can do here is we got Cake Wallet and we got Monerujo, and so like we should just have them catfight. You know, just they could kind of do this little thingy, and the one who does it better is the winner here.
But it's 2 against 1.
Yeah.
Well, so you got to do it twice as good.
It's 2 against 1. It's not fair.
Celebrity deathmatch or something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
No, so I would actually really just like to highlight both of these projects, because both of these projects really exemplify the passion of the people in Monero in different ways. So I'd like to brag on both Monerujo and Cake Wallet. I have been involved with both for in varying capacities for a good amount of time. You know, Monerujo came first, and it came because M2049er saw that there was no Android wallet for Monero, and he's like, okay, well, I got the skills. I'm going to go ahead and make it myself. And he did, and it worked. It looked awful, and I knew I had seen a couple of posts for some different designers, and so I contacted them like, hey, would you guys be willing? And contacted M2049er. I said, hey, would you be willing to work with a designer? And it all came together like that. And so it was born out of a passion and an ability to do so. And then Vic with Cake Wallet came from the other direction, where Vic himself doesn't necessarily have the ability to make this wallet, but he loved Monero and he has the means, and he was able to say, you know what, I have the resources to get something like this off the ground. And so he came around himself that built this wallet out. And after listening to the community, it was launched closed source, but after listening to the community, he open sourced it up. And because he was so willing to take on the ethos of the community, even if, and this is why it's so critical for the community to be open, sorry, because he didn't come with closed source software, and he can elaborate on this later, out of malice, like trying to actively go against the community. He came out of ignorance. And then he was more than willing to speak with me about all these things and just absorb all this into himself and into his project. And he opened it. And so they're kind of coming out from 2 different ways. But both projects really just show people who are just passionate about Monero and privacy and willing to learn and willing to make mistakes and willing to listen to the community and just make something that betters the ecosystem altogether. So to me, that's really awesome. And both projects just show how motivated and passionate the people of Monero are.
I second that.
Yay!
So we actually have another guest that's joining us. So someone was watching the coffee chat and got a little jealous that we were having every other wallet represented here. So we actually have the full-time contributor to the official Monero GUI wallet here, DSC. So DSC, can you please introduce yourself for everyone here?
Is my microphone working?
It works, but it's very quiet.
Oh, shit. Yeah, my name is DSC. I've been involved in Monero for quite some time. Work on the GUI wallet, and that's about it. Is it better now?
A little better.
No, really that.
You have background noise though, so I'd recommend muting when you're not talking. But we can totally hear you now, so that's great.
All right, well, that was about it.
Yeah, well, we're really happy to have you on. Is this the first time you are speaking with people directly in this sort of manner?
Yes, first time for me.
Awesome. Well, again, we're happy to have you on the coffee chat. So really, again, chat, if you have any wallet question whatsoever, we have literally the entire show here. I didn't think this morning that this would be the wallet show, but it really is. We have some of the best cryptocurrency wallet designers here.
We need a Windows Phone wallet. We need.
Windows Phone. I should add that I have nothing nice to say about the GUI wallet and DSC. They don't show the passion. They don't. I'm just kidding. These guys, like, they work tirelessly day and night to get this stuff out. So they're awesome people as well.
Awesome. So I think since this is a wallet focus group, we can sort of move the discussion at least a little bit, especially around wallet UI and UX, because I know that's a major concern that people generally have. They want wallets that have many privacy and security features of Monero. They obviously want to take advantage of Monero. They're using Monero for a reason compared to Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. But what are some of the challenges that Cake Wallet, the GUI, and Monerujo experience in terms of designing a great user experience and a user interface for people? And what are some of the some of the major pain points that users have really expressed for your wallets? I'm sure that in chat people will express some other grievances, but what have you seen as some of the recurring issues that you've really spent a lot of time thinking about how to tackle these and how to make a better user experience for people while making the fewest trade-offs to security, privacy, and other major reasons people have for using Monero in the first place? And we can just go through a sort of, whoever speaks up can grab this question and run with it. Okay, Vic, you're raising your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, as far as our philosophy when we started building this wallet was, you know, what I saw was Monero is hard to use. It's hard, you know, for regular people, it's hard to use. So we wanted to make a tool to make it really accessible for anyone just to download an app, start using it right away. The challenge we have, I guess everybody, maybe Monerujo or everybody has it, or maybe I just don't understand it, is, and I get this question every day in email or Telegram or Twitter, is everybody saying, hey, I had 5 Monero and I just sent 1 and now my balance shows 0. I'm not able to send the next Monero. I think that, I mean, I know that's not a wallet issue, but that's a Monero issue. And I don't know how to solve that, of course. I think that's a more core dev question. But getting back to the wallet, yeah, I think, you know, we wanted to simplify, keep simplifying, keep simplifying. And I think now we've maybe simplified it too much, where too many things are hidden. So we may go backwards a little bit and open things up. In terms of privacy, I mean, giving ease of use and not losing the privacy question, that's something we debate about all the time, because I don't know if anybody follows our Twitter or Telegram, people want a lot of features and other users don't want all those features because they feel it'll compromise security and privacy. So somehow we have to find that balance to be able to provide users ease of use. You know, they want to be able to store things. Other users say, no, if you store things, I'm never going to use your app again. If you saw one of my tweets early on, maybe a month ago, where one user is saying, how do I know you guys aren't stealing my seed and saving it somewhere? And 2 minutes later, another user is saying, hey, don't you guys save my seed somewhere? I've lost it, you know? So we have to, I think everybody, all wallet makers are probably facing these same challenges to find that perfect intersection of usability and continuing to maintain that privacy. So those are the challenges we face on a daily basis. Sorry, my daughter is talking on the phone. So yeah, that's my spiel.
Thanks, Vic. So I've received word that apparently the Blockfolio notification I've sent has been sent to people's notifications several times. So I promise I've only sent 1 to everyone in chat, but I personally received 3 of them. So
that's you. Okay.
I'll be following up with the Blockfolio team in that regard. So in the meantime, continue with this conversation. I'll still be listening to you all.
Yeah. So that's my spiel. I mean, those are the challenges we see, and we want to continue trying to make it easier and easier for everyone to use. And you know, Monerujo talked in Doug's show about the node issue. And yeah, that is, you know, we recognized that early on, and that's why we did put in some sort of node testing and node auto switching. Does it work perfectly? No, you know, it can be improved. So that's another challenge as we're facing as well. Yeah, I mean, I guess one of the features we could add, and Monerujo mentioned, and so I'm stealing your ideas, guys, is in our auto node switching to be able to actually turn off nodes that you don't want to switch to, that you know give you problems or not give you problems. So that's something we could do. Right now, you have a whole list, right? You can add your nodes. We've got some pre-entered nodes in there, and it'll try to switch between all of those. But I think that's a good idea what Monerujo said earlier today is to maybe make a favorites list or some kind of a limited list. So let's say you only want to work with 3 or 4 nodes, so you can just stick to those 3 or 4. So the node issues one, the Monero being locked up for 20 minutes, that's another issue, but that's not a wallet issue, I don't think. So I'll stop there.
There's a typical problem and question that could be solved by just people writing down their seed.
Yeah.
It sounds very, very, very basic at this point, but really, people write down your seed, because all the rest of the features Monerujo uses like what we call crazy pass, but it's encrypted on the phone. We do everything as much as possible to make it like very safe.
Okay.
But at the same time, the more that you make it safe, the more that a regular user can be locked out of their funds, the funds. So this is your house.
Yes, I'm at home now.
It's like a tour.
My daughter was talking on some other call, so I moved here. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it was just that apart from the node thing is very difficult. I already told in the Monero talk show that for people that are not used to truly decentralized wallets, in a way they don't understand what the nodes do or what they are for and what do they have to do in the screen. And if you follow that path a lot, you end up with a wallet or an app that looks like a tutorial, you know, with a lot of texts and with a lot of explanations. And that's a tricky balance to achieve.
As for the official GUI wallets, like the same kind of problems there. We want to make it easy for people to use Monero, but on the other hand, we don't want to compromise privacy of our users. So right now we are, and when I say we, I mean the GUI contributors are thinking about providing an easier mode that the wallet can run in, where it's easier to use Monero. So it might default to certain remote nodes or something, and the interface could be stripped down to only sending and receiving and transaction history. But it's a constant struggle of wanting to provide a better experience, but not compromising the security of the users.
And I think this speaks to, well, there's several major talking points here, and I think it'd be interesting to get the different wallet people's perspective on these different things. So there is this seesaw, this balance between security and privacy and convenience, and there always will be. For example, the better you make your password, the harder it's going to be to remember. But if you don't make it good, then you're just, you're asking to be hacked. So there's always this security, privacy versus convenience compromise stuff that needs to happen. But as well, there's the issue that there's power users versus noob users. And I don't know how many people realize this, but this is an actual issue within the community that some people are like, okay, well, like let's take the GUI, for example. It's not simple. It's got a lot of features in it that maybe it doesn't need to send, receive, or manage your Monero. It's got other stuff in there, which is great. But that means that it's more for power users, because what this means is that A noob is going to download this. They're not going to understand all of the options, and they're going to get scared. And this is just the way that users are. This is just the way that they are, and there's no going around this. And really, there's no arguing this either. They're going to see all these options. They're like, I don't know what any of these things are. I just want to receive and manage Monero. But there does need to be easier options than something like the command line for people that do want all of these power user features. There are going to be those people. They are going to want to prove their transactions. They are going to want to verify them and be able to do it locally within the wallet. So this is another spectrum that the more noob friendly you make things, the more you set defaults and make them unchangeable, the more power you take from the users to be able to do those things themselves or set those options themselves should they want to. And that's, I mean, that's what open source is all about, is giving all the power back to the users to do this type of thing. But then when we keep talking about mass adoption, the more features we add, the more complicated our things are to use, the less likely it is to get mass adopted. And I think there's room in the ecosystem. I'm not advocating we should change the GUI, we should change Monerujo, we should change whatever to simplify all these things. I'm saying that there needs to be a number of wallets, one that you can give to your grandmother and one that I myself would use, and and as long as they work with each other, they can scan each other's QR codes, they can send to each other's addresses, it's not a big deal. And it's just because of the limited resources. So people keep saying the UX, when is it going to get better? The UX of the GUI is too complicated. The GUI is too this. When is it going to improve? When they say improve, it's very undefined. Really what they're saying is it needs to be simpler to use. And what that means is fewer features. Everything just needs to be streamlined. But I disagree that the GUI needs to be improved in that way. It's doing its job. Could the UX improve? Could the user flows for all of those features improve? Of course they could. But in terms of radical simplification, I don't think that it should. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, I apologize for talking so much, is there was a question about the purism, like the Librem 5, stuff like that. And I'm actually one of the people I'm actually the person that is working on bringing Monero to the Librem 5 platform. And there was a link provided inside of the chat if you wanted to look at that. And me and my little design firm that I own, we decided to take on two challenges, not just to make a new wallet, both desktop and mobile, for the Librem line of laptops that will ship by default with them, which is very exciting. But we also thought we wanted to make this radically simple wallet that is, I call it the SRM core, send, receive, manage, SRM. Anything that is not in the SRM core is not in the wallet by default. And it's a challenge because there's, like Vic suggested, that Monero itself has really, really bad UX. Just at a core level of using the software, getting change back is something you have to explain. Where's my Monero, like Vic said. There's a lot of things about Monero that is just so unwieldy, like the long address, the change aspect. It's so difficult for the uneducated person. And so trying to optimize that as much as possible so that way you don't need to know all that stuff, you can still use Monero. It's really tough. And each of these wallets is trying to go about it in a different way. And that's the exciting part, is that there's so many experiments going on. Monerujo is doing it one way, Cake Wallet's doing it another way, Edge Wallet's doing it another way. And we're all seeing, okay, what stuff is working? What stuff is not working? Where are people getting confused? And we can all learn from each other about how to make a better experience for everybody. And Monerujo learned a lot from the GUI, where people kept saying, well, we don't like this about the GUI, we don't like this about the GUI, so they decided to implement it one way. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I've been talking too long, but yeah, it's great to see all this UX experimentation happening on all these different platforms, on all these different types of wallets, and seeing what is working and what is not, because it's a difficult problem, and it's not going to be made easier at the snap of a finger just because of the base technology we're working with.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So does anyone want to jump in a quick point, or do you want me to round this question out for you all?
What I would say is that just by the decentralized nature of Monero itself and how the community works, and how the different teams of the wallets work. Like it's like sometimes it's difficult to come up with standards in the way of the metaphors that we use on the UI and of the naming of things, but eventually it emerges, right? But just by usage. And once I think once a feature is like commonly used in everywhere, like in the GUI, in Monerujo, or in Cake wallet, and it's called the same, and people are expecting it to be in the same place, even in the UI. Things improve even for the new user. But as it's all decentralized, it's difficult to organize. That's what I meant.
I would like to add a small point that I think it's important. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's important for the project, Monerujo or GUI or Cake or whatever, to know why this application exists, who the users are, and what they want to be doing with it. So for Monerujo, we have defined that for ourselves, and everything we add, we check, does this fit to the users we want to have this? Of course, the official GUI has no luck because they have to do everything. Maybe because always we're saying, okay, this is an advanced feature. If people really want to, for example, transfer to 3 different accounts in one transaction, this is not what Monerujo is for. Please use the command line client for this, because those are advanced features. So we have defined for ourselves, of course, it's a flexible definition, but we've defined for ourselves, this is what we want our product to be. And we verify everything that we do against this picture we have in our heads, and try to reduce to the max, if you remember that slogan. Yeah.
Hey, with all these wallet makers online, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
With all these wallet makers online, I actually asked Paul from Monero to come on, and he said he's too busy, but he says hi, and he wants to definitely come on sometime and explain how Monero works. So I just messaged him. So he says hello. That's the message.
My Monero is pretty fantastic in terms of user experience. If you download the desktop wallets, if you go to the GitHub and download the desktop wallets, like it's a breeze to use. It's glorious. So I think it is my opinion that everybody here should be using everybody's wallets just to kind of see how they do things, and so they can kind of gossip behind their back about how everyone's doing things wrong except for them. So that's the way that we should do things here in Monero.
Yes, and provide feedback, please. Give us voluntary feedback.
Absolutely. So I have an interesting question. So Monero is making a big push generally for people to use sub-addresses because they offer more privacy for users. And we're not going to get into what sub-addresses are in this chat or why they're necessarily better, but it's important for people to understand that using sub-addresses helps their privacy compared to using a standard address or even using the old super cumbersome payment ID type system. So as wallet designers, how do you handle these sub-addresses in a way that a user understands? Do you sort of, what sort of behavior, what sort of features do you enable in the wallet in order for users to take the best, like basically take advantage of these sub-addresses without getting bogged down in a very complicated UI or an unfriendly UX?
Who do you want to go?
Anyone?
I don't know if you guys have used Cake Wallet, but we've tried to, again, not hide it, but you know, for a normal everyday user, they're using their main address. That's fine. But from our end, to simplify it and not just have it, as Diego was saying, these long addresses. In Cake Wallet, you can actually give a name to each sub-address you create. You can call it Justin1, Justin2, or Doug1, Doug2, whatever. You can just name it whatever. So again, that was again a step to make it user friendly. It's not right there on the main receive screen. It is one more step. But once you get to it, you can create as many sub-addresses as you want, and you can switch between any of them that you've created. You can choose whichever one you want to use, and by name, which I thought was very important to have, again, to give a name to each one. So you remember, oh, I use this one for Binance, or I use this one for my weed. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so that's how we handled it.
We are using, yeah, please, Dimi.
Okay. For me, I think accounts is one of the most fantastic features of Monero, because all of a sudden you have one wallet, and it's actually a lot of wallets. You sync once, and you have all your wallets synced. So actually, you don't, as a normal person, without any special kind of requirements, you can use one wallet and use accounts to separate, well, your accounts, as the name says it. So basically, instead of having lots of wallets, you're going to have one wallet with a lot of accounts, which are always synced, which is neat. Our take on the sub-addresses is a bit different than Cake just described. We decided to go with a way that sub-addresses are one-time addresses, so you can just give out one-time addresses. Internally, they're also stored with a name. At this point in time, we don't have any possibility to actually see a list of the addresses that you have used, because they are one-time addresses. What I want to be doing in the next couple of months is to actually make an info screen so that you can actually see which sub-addresses you've used. But the idea is not to reuse those sub-addresses. You will probably be able to copy them and reuse them, but that's not the main aim. Yeah, I think, again, accounts are a great thing. You can name them. They have their own balances. They're just incredible. Thanks.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about, where we see the same feature being used in two different ways, and we're kind of seeing, and maybe some more research will be done, and there will be privacy implications on one versus the other, or something like that. But at the moment, we're kind of seeing, okay, how are users going to use this, and what is the end result of implementing a feature in this way versus that way. So this is actually a very exciting time for Monero, where we have this very versatile technology that can be used in several different ways. And we're trying to find out, and there's nothing to say that these different ways that one will win over the other. Maybe there will be always a bunch of users that want to be able to reuse their sub-addresses. And I can see a situation in which this might be the case, where I have Diego Salazar alias and I have Rarar alias online, and let's pretend that people don't know that I'm the same person. I just want to sync one wallet. I just want to keep one set of private keys. So I make two different sub-addresses, one for Rarar, and every time I post that, please donate to me here, please donate to me here, everyone knows, okay, this is actually going to Rarar. Or I can put it as an open alias, because if you have to keep generating sub-addresses, then you can't use open alias that well. So there's use cases for reusing it, but there's also definitely use cases for generating a new sub-address each time, just so there's no linkability. So it's really exciting just how versatile this technology really is, and just how many use cases it really covers. It's amazing. Like, Monero is just it's so broad, and it's so deep in the amount of people that it can help, and the amount of use cases it can really fill. So yeah, that's something really cool. I have a question for the wallet people, if I may.
Before you jump in, can we have DSC's take on this?
That's right. I keep forgetting he's here because
because DSC works on the official GUI wallet, and I feel like it would be great if they could speak to the challenges of balancing essentially a full-featured sort of GUI wallet that needs to be power user focused, and how you address and how that goes towards addressing a lot of the challenges in designing the GUI, especially in relation to how the sub-address feature has been implemented there.
All right, tough question. Right now, we're following the cake approach, where you can just create new sub-addresses and name them. But it gets kind of chaotic when you, for example, have 4,000 sub-addresses. There's no way to organize them or whatever. So it could be better at this point. We're not sure how to move forward with this at this moment. I'll be honest with that. One of the low-hanging fruits for me would be to code a function where you can at least search for a specific kind of sub-address. But yeah, I don't really have a clear idea of where I want to take the sub-addresses towards.
All right, thanks. Diego, on to your question.
On to my question. Okay, so my question is for everybody. And it doesn't have a whole lot to do with wallet creators in the wallets themselves, but it has a lot to do with the ecosystem that is built around wallets. And this question, it's something I've brought up several times before, is that right now, most of the mobile wallets and the GUI remote nodes and stuff rely on open public nodes. And it's just this ever-encroaching idea that altruism does not scale. So with the current amount of Monero users that we have, the amount of open public nodes may be enough to serve them. But if Monero ever gets the fabled quote-unquote mass adoption, the amount of open public nodes that we have would not have the bandwidth, would not have the resources necessary to be showing everybody to be servicing all these people on all these different wallets. So this idea that at some point there's going to have to be businesses, like let's say I make an open source wallet and I make a business model where you know, you can use the wallet for free, but you can pay for premium, and you can just not have to mess with remote nodes or mess with any of that. You just automatically connect to my node that I made for my business for people who paid for premium, basically. Because as the number of users gets bigger, and if the number of open public nodes remains stagnant, then everyone's connection is going to be slower. Some people will not be able to afford to run these open public nodes anymore just because of the high amount of traffic that they're getting. Altruism doesn't scale, and there's going to need to be some sort of business model where people will be compensated for being able to run these nodes. And I know this is not a popular idea, but this is the reality of the world that we live in. We don't live in an ideal world. We live in this one, planet Earth, and it sucks for a lot of reasons, but it's what we got. So just kind of talking with the different, Cake Wallet is a business, but they have chosen not yet to go that route. Monerujo is not a business, so they couldn't necessarily go that route even if they wanted to, although we kind of tampered and experimented with having a server that if you donate a certain amount of money or something, maybe you can have access to, right? And then the GUI is obviously just complete open source software that is not affiliated with, you know, anyway. And my Monero is a business as well. So there's different business models, I guess, that can happen with this. But just what is everybody's thoughts on this thought that altruism doesn't scale? And it's a real concern for our future in terms of wallet creation and wallet ecosystems.
Okay, I'll bite. I'm not sure that's really true that altruism doesn't scale. I think that when more businesses adopt Monero, and so you have more users in the end, those businesses can supply nodes which are then public nodes. So I think it will scale to some degree. It will not scale when the whole world is only doing Monero. But then again, maybe they will, and maybe everyone will have, as we discussed with Doug today, a Monero node running on the phones, and you will just have, I don't know, 8 billion Monero nodes, which are all synced together. So, yes, it's difficult, as you said.
I think you hit on a lot of different points, Diego. Just speaking in terms of just crypto in general, I do think nodes should get paid. There should be some incentive. Miners get paid. So nodes are also providing a service, and I think they should get some fee. There should be a model, I feel, and that would incentivize people to run their own nodes. So that's kind of more of a broader picture. But in terms of wallets, you know, we started running our own node. I mean, that's the first node you connect with when you go on Cake Wallet. Not because, you know, we wanted to, yeah, of course, we wanted to do something for the community, but main reason was because the other nodes weren't upgrading or updating their libraries at the same time. And then, you know, we got 13.01 running on ours and somebody's running still the old version. Then we're getting messages, hey, I can't connect to this node. So we said, you know what, screw it. Let's just, so in the last version is the first version, we have our own node. So it's more out of necessity and to just make the wallet run smoother. Yeah, you have the option to switch from that. But yeah, and it's a cost for us. I mean, to run our own node, we're running it on, you know, Amazon, AWS, and but to make the wallet reliable, we felt we need to have a node that matches with the same software that's on the app, on the wallet. So yeah, so nodes should get paid, I feel, especially because we're running one.
How about these the plug and play nodes that we've been hearing about? I saw a post on Reddit. I've heard people talking about it in the past. Not even so much getting paid to run a node, but I would pay to buy one of those boxes and just plug it in my house. I think it kind of, you could really kind of motivate the community to get behind that if you make them cheap enough. And if it's as simple as, you know, taking it out of the box and plugging it in your wall and hooking it up to your internet, I think there would be a lot of demand there because everybody understands the importance of a decentralized system here, and it'd be a quick, easy way to kind of participate. I myself don't run a full node. I'm kind of a Luddite, even though I've been in crypto for quite some time. I've never gotten that deep into it on a technical level, and that's not something I'd really want to like tangle with. But if it's something where I could just, you know, pay, you know, $30, $40, have it shipped to my house and plug it in the wall, I know that's something I would be excited to do and kind of wear as a badge of honor. Somebody comes over your house, they see your little Monero node running. I think you'd be surprised. I think there'd be quite a few people in the community that would be into that, especially if it becomes that would be kind of about supporting the network on a whole, and then also improving your own security, because you'd be able to run you know, your Cake wallet or your Monero GUI wallet off your own personal node that you would feel more secure about. So I mean, what do you guys think about those projects that we're seeing pop up about these kind of you know, plug and play nodes? Do you think that's something that could actually happen and be made sexy enough and easy enough where people would just buy them and plug them in?
I think it would really help. I think it wouldn't hurt to begin with. But then once again, something that you mentioned is like, I would be willing to run this and kind of have it as a badge of honor. Well, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be motivated to have a badge of honor. If you look at the US dollar, I don't want to have to pay $150 to be able to use the US dollar in the most secure, best way possible. I just get paid in dollars and I go to the store and I buy my eggs, right? So I think this idea to use Monero, you gotta, you know, obviously you don't have to buy this thing, but like to use it, is it in an easier way or something? I think this is a hurdle that people are hand waving away, sweeping under the rug a little too easily. I think that because we're all idealists, most of us here are staunch idealists. It's hard for us to fathom a people that really don't care. But the truth is 99% of the people in this world really do not care. They do not care about Monero. If Monero is a tool that will enrich their lives and so that way they can buy their stuff easier and spend stuff easier, then they will use it. If it gets too complicated, they won't think twice about leaving it behind. This is the reality. And I am totally with you, man. Like if there was one of those nodes, I'd plug it into my place, and I'm sure a lot of people would. And I'm sure on the spectrum of people that don't care entirely and are that idealists, you know, we could actually target some of those kind of middle ground people. Like, oh look, you can just plug this in, and so it would help. It really would. But like all the people on the other side of the spectrum that don't care at all, they're not going to want. They're like, why should I be spending this money? Like, that's my honest opinion about all this.
I think probably in the end we will end up with something similar to web hosting, right? That you have like free hosting and has like pop-ups and works not very reliable and all that. But nowadays it's very common that you know that you want to have a website, you have to pay a few bucks a month to use it. So probably in the future we will see like professional nodes popping up that you pay $1, $2 per month, and you can use it. You have your own user, and you know, and works fast and it's easy to use. Because I think even if we rely on businesses setting up nodes for Monero, they will probably just keep it closed and use it for themselves, because if they need it, they want it to be very fast and very reliable, and not everybody's using it. So I think we will end up with something paid for that service.
I think the ideal is similar to what we have now, in that, like, if we look at public transportation, you have some that's kind of subsidized or run by the government, right? And then you've got some private businesses like taxis that you can hire. Like, really, we have to start looking at the Monero network as an infrastructure. That is going to require some company business buy-in, some public buy-in, whether that's through governmental institutions and stuff, and some people, you know, in terms of transportation, will purchase their own car, and that's how they will get around. They won't use public transportation provided by anybody. They'll buy their own car, but not everyone is going to be able to do that. And so I think targeting all of these areas is massively important. And right now we're basically just relying on altruism and not a lot of businesses and not a lot of public infrastructure, which is fine for our current level of Monero users. But at some point we're gonna scale way past that. Like, and you can think, yeah, it's just the idea, going back to my analogy of everybody purchasing their own car and then offering to give free rides to everybody around them that needs it. That's the altruism thing. And I don't have time for that, and not everybody here has time for that. Not everybody has money to buy their own car.
But maybe that's the solution. The solution is the appliances that we talked about earlier, the appliance node that you can buy for whatever, 40, 50 bucks. And you can use it yourself, but it has a built-in application where people using it pay. So you would buy this appliance, you would run it, and people pay like the web hosting like a couple of bucks for using it a month. So it would be a business model for people to actually run nodes in a simple manner. So anyone could buy it. You plug it in, it's always up to date, it's always working well, and it's just a separate, small maybe, but revenue stream. So you have the incentive of running it, maintaining the network, and it's not a big deal for anyone to use it or to run it. I think the running aspect is also very important. It has to be simple. It has to be simple.
But you know, that's true. If I could add something, the other long-term, bigger picture is that we're thinking of all these things in today's technology again, and as M2049er said in the previous chat before this, that yeah, ideally at some day we'll be able to do all this on our phones and we won't need remote nodes. I mean, you just think of the Monero blockchain, how we found a way to reduce it by 80%. You know, next year, some other PhD guy, we don't know. So again, we're thinking of all these things, putting our own nodes, doing all these things based on today's technology. If something new happens tomorrow, phones are getting faster, internet connections getting faster, space on your phones becoming bigger. Again, we may find another way next year to reduce the blockchain by another 80%. So I would not like to see the path of asking people to run their nodes and do all these things. I think it's going to it's actually bad for Monero. It's bad for cryptocurrency when you're asking everyday users, when they can just open up their Chase app and or Venmo or PayPal, and without doing all this other shit, they could just send money anywhere they want. And now asking people to run their own hardware and all that, I'm not in favor of it. Sorry to be harsh.
Okay, so we're running low on time. I again appreciate all of you for coming here. Everyone in chat, make sure to get your last few comments in so that we can cover any material in the last few minutes that we have. But for the wallet creators, I know there's a lot of focus on ways that you've dealt with challenges and ways that you sort of improve things. On maybe a more feel-good note, what really motivates you to continue working on these wallets every day? Is there some sort of altruistic incentive there? And what are some of the, have you like stopped and thought about the real impact you're having to people as you're designing these wallets, to what impact you're really giving to the world? And again, we can go in any order here for which wallet, which wallet contributor wants to jump up and explain first.
I'll bite. For me personally, I want to empower people to have financial freedom. Monero is the correct cryptocurrency for that. Yeah, that's about it, basically. That's my motivation. So I quit my job recently and I want to work full-time on the GUI, make it better. That's what I'm motivated about.
I agree with this 100%.
Yeah, for me, the motivation is of course the tech. It's a great experiment. You know, I want to be part of this. But the human side of it is, I like getting emails. And I love getting these emails or somebody saying that they're able to send money back to their mom in some other country, and it's so easy, and thanks for Cake Wallet, and that's really a good feeling.
Yeah, myself, I'm not the coder, but I live in a country that has always devaluation and inflation. And all those shit together at the same time. So for me, the use case for Monero is really clear. And the wallet is the way that we can put that technology in the hands of as many people as possible in their daily lives. So it really, it makes me really happy to be able to be a part of something that really can make a difference in this regard in the world.
All right, thank you again, everyone. Does anyone have any closing thoughts, any last questions for any of our coffee chat participants here? None?
Love you all. Love you all. You're the heart and soul of Monero.
No, that's you.
Oh, stop it. No.
He's the puppet master.
All right, in that case, thank you everyone for coming to participate in the coffee chat today. Thanks again, everyone, for participating on YouTube. We appreciate having you all here. Stay tuned for next month's coffee chat, where we should focus. I don't know if it'll be focused on another topic. I probably will not know until the day of, depending on who's able to come and appear on those. But again, we're really happy to have you all. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks a lot.